Okay, welcome back to the channel. So today we've come in this plot. We've got this to deal with. I've not a clue what's gone on here yet, but I'll have a quick look. So let's see what's behind it. Got one piece of board, two pieces of board, and the insulation. Now I can see the plumber's put a connection on there, so he's obviously had a bit of a leak. So today, we're going to fix this. I'll show you how to do it without sanding. It's not a long time, it'll probably take about half an hour to do this repair. Okay, so we've cut some timbers. I'm now going to offer these timbers into the hole. We're going to get them fixed in with some drywall screws, and we'll have something then to patch back onto. Okay, so when you're setting your drywall screws into your plasterboard, you only want them to go into the surface. You don't want them to go too far to take away any strength. So we've got an elbow down here now, so I've had to cut this piece a tiny bit shorter. Let's see if we can get it in. There we go. And then we're just going to measure that up. We're happy. Okay. So we'll get some screws in this bottom one now. Like I say, you want it just countersunk. You don't want to go too far with it. And again, just countersunk. Now, top tip for you. Okay, so when you're doing these repairs, it's always better if you can span it with timber. That way you've got no movement on the joints. So we know that timber will fit in there. So we've got to try and offer it in now. We get that end in first, bring it across. Now I'll put that screw there so I can hold the face of it while I get a fix in either side. We'll get fixing on that side. I'll take that out. Okay, now we know we've got a nice solid background there now. We'll just put a screw in that edge. There we go. Okay, so we've got a nice solid background. Now let's see if the boards go back. Another top tip for you, if you're using board that's already come out, just make sure there's nothing behind the back of it. Let's see if it fits. Oh, that's all right. First time lucky. Got one piece of there. Let's see what we've got with this. Okie dokie. That's what we're left with. So we're going to screw that up now, and then we're going to get the repair done. So again, when you're fitting your screws, I'd go all four corners. We know we've completely covered it with timber, so we know we're not going to miss anywhere. Now we are aware there's a pipe down there, but we'll be fine. Okay, so we put the boards on, we put the timbers down, we've got it solid. It's always good now just to go around, give it a quick scrape, make sure you've got no loose bits. Okay, next step. Now we know these joints, this isn't the best bits around here. So what we're going to do is we're going to get some mesh tape on it. But before we do, okay, so we're going to put some mesh tape on. But before we do, we're going to just infill these where I'm presuming the plumber has cut out. So we're going to get a bit of gear inside it, rule it off. And again, a bit of gear inside it. Make sure you're pushing it all the way in, rule it off. Again, bit of gear inside it. rule it off. Okay, now we'll apply our mesh tape. So we know we've covered the inside of that now. Take that scruffy bit off there. And again across. We'll come down with this little piece. And then just to finish it, we'll come across here. Okay, so cylinders in, boards are screwed, gaps are pre-filled. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go over it. For this, I'm going to use my trowel, just because it's bigger and it's just easier to get the coverage. Okay, so I'll get a bit of gear. So this, what we're using today, is an Easy Fill 20. It's a 20-minute Easy Fill. It takes 20 minutes to go off. I mixed it 10 minutes ago before I started doing this. So it will already start being on the turn. So we're going to come across this now. We're going to give it a couple of coats. Keep it nice and smooth, and I'll show you how to do it without sanding. Okay, so first thing you're going to want to do is get a bit on the edge of your trowel. You're going to start below, and we're going to come past all the way around. So first of all, a bit below, set it onto the wall. There we go. Okay, so when we're doing this, now, what we're looking for is we're after a flat, tight coat for our first coat. What we're trying to do is just get a bit of coverage on it to start covering that scrim tape. So once we get that mesh tape slightly covered, we'll get in there. So again, with the trowel, we can keep coming over it now, gently. Now, we've got a bit of coverage on that. We're going to give that 10 minutes. While that's drying into the wall, we'll knock this up with a little bit of water just to keep it live. And we'll come over it and we'll give it a second pass. Okay, we put our first coat on. It's not dry, it's slightly tacky in places. So what we're going to do now is we're going to come past, give it a second coat. We're going to pass all around the originals. And then hopefully we'll get a bit more coverage over this scrim. So this is still the same mix, it's still the same Easy Fill. I've not actually had to add any water to it, but it is on the turn, so it is starting to go a little bit lumpy. But hopefully you should be able to trowel through it. So again, I'm coming past my originals, trying to get that coverage, but without building the wall out too much. So again, past my original, bring it up. And again, just along this edge. There we go. So we'll give that another 5 minutes and we'll get ready to give it an extra coat. Okay, so we're going to do another pass now. We'll let it dry a little bit, we're going to give it another pass. So for this, you just want a tiny bit on your trowel. And again, we always start past our original pass, just so we keep that edge nice and fine. That's covering nicely now. So you've got about 20 minutes working time with this. So it's not a massively long repair to do. So we'll get it covered and I'll show you how to finish it without sanding. So it's getting nice and flat now. You'll be able to feel with your trowel when it's flat. You'll know if you've got any undulations because you start hitting them and you feel your trowel skipping or dragging. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, I'm going to give that 10 minutes, I'm going to go downstairs, pour myself a quick coffee, I'll give that 10 minutes. Once that's hardened up, we're going to go over it with some Pro Mix Light, cover everything, I get a finish on it without sanding, and that's the easy way to do a drywall repair. Okay, so we put our 2 coats of Easy-Fill on, and we've allowed it to firm up. Now we know we've got coverage over that scrim tape. I can feel it, it's fairly smooth now. I've got coverage all around here. I've kept the edges as fine as we can. Okay, so the next one we're going to use is Pro Mix Light. So it's Gyprock's Pro Mix Light, and this I only use for finishing. It's a top coat. You can't do the full repair with it. I'll just show you now. So it's a pre-mix filler, as you can see. Now sometimes someone will add a splash of water to that just to make it easier to work with. But when we're doing repairs like this, I find if you leave it as it comes out the tub, you can get the coverage you want over it. You don't have to keep going over and over and over, and you can still get your edges as fine as anything. So what we're going to do now, clean trowel, get rid of that. You want your trowel nice and clean. You always want to make sure the edges are nice and clean as well. That's because all that doesn't finish it, it's that bit there that finishes it. Okay, so just gonna knock it up on the board a little minute. All I'm doing here is making sure I've got no air bubbles in it, and I've got it where I want it on my board. Okay, so first thing you're gonna want to do is get a little bit on your trowel, on the blade. Now, when you're doing these now, this is a top coat, so this is going to be fine, a fine top coat. So we're still going to come out past, we're going to come past all our originals. I'll show you now. So trowel fairly flattish to the wall, bring it up and across, and then trowel on edge, and give it a light ruling. Again, come through it with the Pro Mix Light, and then trowel off. I'll show you again. A little bit more on the trowel blade. I'm going to come up, past our original, and we're always trying to keep these edges as fine as we can. So again, a little bit on the trowel. Come up with it. Okay, what I'm going to do now, I'm going to bring this edge in away from the door architrave. Okay, we're going to go one more light pass. What happens with this is it dries with the air. So I can leave that sat on the handboard all day and it will not firm up. Whereas the Easy-Fill 20 we used before has now gone rock hard. So it shows you. This, you put on fine coats, really fine coats. So again, always past my original. So I'm working on another fine coat now, just to make sure I've got that coverage that I need over that scrim tape. And again, come across, and we've got a bit of a tear there. So what's happened, there's a little lump of something stuck to the trowel and it's put that little tear into the wall. So we'll trowel that back out now. Again, bit on there. There's something, oh we've got it. There was just something on the edge of my trowel then. Again, come across. One last pass up. Okay, now for those of you that have watched the channel before, you'll know what's coming now. We have a bucket and we have a sponge float. Now that's been sat in the water, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of some of that moisture off it. I want some moisture in it, but I don't want it dripping wet. Now, what we're going to do with this is, we know we've kept these edges really fine. Now we could let it fully dry, wait for it to dry, give them a light sanding, but then you've got the dust to contend with. We don't want the dust to contend with. Now, I always go along the bottom and the edge as well, just because I am going to pass it again with my trowel. So that just makes sure I've got that moisture there. Now put that back in the bucket. We'll give our trowel a quick clean. Okay, so give my trowel a quick clean. We'll wet up these edges. So we're going to come through now. And we're going to rule off any of the moisture that we don't want. And again, give it another pass all the way around. And there we go, it's as simple as that. So that's all we've got off it. And that's just the moisture from them edges. Okay, so we know this now. It's fully covered, it's completely flat. All the edges are brought in lovely and nice. We'll let that dry completely, let the painter have it then. Painter will come in, paint over it, you won't be able to see anything. Okay, so if you like what you're seeing, like and subscribe, plenty more stuff coming on the channel. And remember, keep your trowel clean, have a decent trowel, and invest in a sponge float, saves you so much time. So thanks for watching, I'll see you soon.